When you hear the word neurodiversity, what comes to mind? Have you heard the term before? If you haven't, here are some common traits that a neurodivergent person may have.
Difficulty socialising, hypersensitivity to sounds and other senses, and problems staying focused. Based on these traits, if I told you to picture this person, what would they look like? Maybe a young boy who can't sit still, seems angry or overwhelmed. But would you ever picture someone like this? And that's the problem.
Most people imagine children, usually boys, and associate conditions like autism and ADHD with disruption and chaos. What they often overlook are adults, women, and people who mask their traits to fit in. This becomes a real issue in the workplace. Many people have a fixed idea of what neurodiversity looks like, so they often don't recognise when their own colleagues are struggling, which leads to them not getting the support that they need. On top of this, many studies find that autistic and neurodivergent adults often face negative treatment in the workplace, particularly when undiagnosed. Many face discrimination and feel pressure to mask their traits to fit in, which can lead to burnout, which magnifies the issue. All of this adds up to make it very difficult for neurodivergent adults to obtain and stay in workplaces.
This is reflected in the 2021 ONS survey, which places autistic adults as the second least employed of all disability groups, sitting at 29%. Even those in work are often underemployed, struggling in roles that don't match their skills or potential due to lack of reasonable adjustments or awareness from employers.
This is a clear sign that something needs to be done. There's a long journey ahead to accommodate neurodiversity, but the first step is to increase awareness. Show people that acting with compassion and making small changes can have a big impact on neurodivergent individuals' functioning and make them feel more valued and able to succeed. So, what have people done about this?
Well, there are online resources from places like NHS, Lexic, and Harvard Health that explain different types of neurodiversity and offer some guidance. But for neurotypical people especially, there's little reason to seek them out. And even when they do, the content can feel limited, overly clinical, or disconnected from real workplace situations. Community-made videos can fill some of these gaps with first-hand experience and tips about workplace issues, which can be really beneficial to neurodivergent individuals. However, they're not usually designed with neurotypical audiences in mind or suitable as a workplace learning tool.
So, I wanted to create something engaging and immersive to really connect with both neurodivergent and neurotypical people. Something that highlights the real struggles neurodivergent people face in the workplace. I felt that a great way to achieve this was by creating an educational game. Something interactive, relatable, and unique. I looked to see if anything else like this had already been done, but I couldn't find it.
The closest examples I found were games that explore memory loss, grief, and anxiety, or a virtual reality simulation of sensory overload.
These are powerful in their own way, but none of them focus on everyday workplace struggles or aim to create a shared understanding between neurodivergent and neurotypical people in a professional setting. So, this is what I set out to do.
This was a complex project to undertake, so I wanted to do it right. I began by exploring both academic literature on neurodiversity and looking into these existing solutions. Once I had this background, I could then conduct my own primary research. I surveyed over 40 people about their knowledge of neurodiversity in the workplace and how they engage with workplace training to help build a clearer picture of the problem and the solution. I then led a focus group with people in the neurodiverse community to get their views on the project and how best to represent their experiences.
After gaining these key insights, I was able to start designing my solution.
That involved gathering my functional and non-functional requirements, which defined what the game needed to do and how it should perform to meet the project's goals. After that, I delved deeper into what style of game would suit this project best, and ultimately decided on a 2D side-scroller, as it scored the highest when evaluating against key attributes like accessibility, immersion, and player guidance. I knew I needed to take this and turn it into something more concrete. So I started by writing down all my initial ideas to then go back and refine it later. I drew out a storyboard to map out the gameplay journey and used wireframes for designing the UI.
Then it was time to bring it to life. I needed to learn Unity, and fast.
I found a great tutorial by Game Maker's Toolkit which takes you through how to recreate a popular game in Unity, which was a really good starting point.
After completing that mini project, I was ready to get to work on the real thing. I soon realised that tutorial was just the tip of the iceberg and I had a long way to go before I could complete this project. The best I could do was to take it a step at a time. I went through dozens of tutorials, scrolled through forums, documentation, constantly researching how to solve each new problem as it came up. Every mechanic was built through this trial, error and persistence. And finally, it all came together.
This game takes you along a journey through the character's eyes, offering a glimpse into what a typical workday might feel like for a neurodivergent person. It uses a blend of information panels and simulated experiences to engage and educate the player. Through the use of a carefully constructed narrative accompanied by a minigame, the audience experiences how small tasks can quickly become challenging without the right support. As the story progresses, adjustments are introduced, showing how the right accommodations can make a real difference. So, when you first launch the game, it takes you to a simple menu screen, and then it gives you some background information about neurodiversity and neurodiversity in the workplace. After going through these menus, a dialogue sequence starts, which is related to the first task. After the dialogue's done, the minigame panel will become visible, and you'll be able to start the task minigame. The aim of the minigame is to collect items that your character likes and avoid items that your character doesn't like. So, I think we should give it a go. As you can see, it might feel a bit chaotic. And that is how quickly you can lose. But that's intentional. The first day that you play through with this character, the tasks are meant to be hard, to show the struggles that they have. Then, after learning about these struggles, you're then taken to a day where the character's needs are accommodated and the tasks are much easier. The in-game information also changes to reflect this and explain why the task was easier this time around. So, after playing the game and seeing each day from a different point of view, one with accommodations and one without, it should help give an insight into how the day might go for a neurodivergent person.
After building the game, it was important to test both functionality and effectiveness.
The functional elements were tested manually throughout the development, while non-functional requirements were reviewed at the end. To assess effectiveness, 15 users were invited to test the game, and the response was overwhelmingly positive, and with one participant leaving this comment: "As a father of neurodiverse children, I felt huge empathy for the neurodiverse character in the game. The struggles are conveyed in a very endearing way. The key message of how small accommodations can make a big difference was very clear. Having undertaken many company training programs, I felt the game format was very engaging." This feedback, combined with the testing process, confirmed that all requirements and project objectives were met.
Beyond this, the project offers a meaningful contribution to the wider conversation about neurodiversity. The game offers a unique experience that not only provides helpful information, but encourages empathy and understanding. In doing so, it fills the gap in traditional resources by raising awareness of key challenges neurodivergent people may face and how they can be better supported. While the project timescale didn't allow for a fully polished version, it lays a strong foundation for future work, either by expanding the scenarios, refining the visuals, or including wider representation of neurodiversity. Through this project, I've learnt not only about game development and technical skills, but also how to translate complex social issues into interactive and accessible tools.